And welcome back to the Delaware Boys Dynasty Football Podcast. It's been way too long. Ryan, we're back. Say what's up to the people, baby.
What's going on, guys? Got to be back. Took a little break there. We both had vacations back to back, so that's kind of tough on the scheduling for the stream. But glad to be back on. First of all, if we didn't get anything kicked off, I just want to announce to people that me and Steven have our official Dynasty rankings up on rpofootball.com. So head on over there, check that out. Growing very quickly, so hey, get in before you blow up, baby.
Most viewed, May was the most viewed month.
Yep.
It doubled our views. I want to say it was over 10,000. We appreciate the support, whether it be on the IDP side or the offensive side, which is what we do. Take a look. 90 running backs, 90 wide receivers was getting down to nitty gritty. So please let us know how you feel about it. Shout out to the boys over at RPO. Continue doing your thing as well.
Yes,
But tonight, I'm done talking about rookies. I'm done. Let's take a blast in the past, baby. We're going to take a trip back down memory lane. A lot of people weren't excited about the 2022 class, but produced some real ballers. I mean, that's what I want to talk about. We're going to break down the 2022 class. Let's take a look back at their successes last year, and then we're going to go and let's talk about their dynasty value from 2023 on.
Yep.
I want to cover wide receivers. There's 4 wide receivers we specifically want to talk about. So let me pull these guys up. First wide receiver on the board.
First of all, before we get into the receivers, can we just talk about how everybody was fading this 2022 class, trading back for the 2023 picks? But do we know for sure that this class will produce Olave or Garrett Wilson
or Drake London
or Drake
Brees
London
Hall, or Kenneth Walker?
Right.
We keep going on the list. Honestly, the only reason the 2023 class stands out is the QBs. The only notable QB that we can talk about in this class is Kenny Pickett. But skill position wise, I think the skill position collectively in 2022 is better than 2023 outside of Bijan.
I mean, I feel differently about JSN, but
Garrett Wilson better than JSN, no question.
We'll see.
I mean, I can't forget.
You're probably not wrong. Really,
I can't forget Gibbs too. Gibbs is my guy. I'm a big Gibbs fan. But let's do this. Let's hop into it. Garrett Wilson, you say. Garrett Wilson, you say.
Garrett Wilson.
Let's jump into it. Let's talk about the draft capital first. First round wide receiver went 10th off the board. You can see the stats. You can see the college dominating stats. You can see the yards per reception, all that, the target shares.
Mm-hmm.
The thing I want to point out to everybody before we get started, the numbers Garrett Wilson put up in 2022 was with abysmal QB play. Abysmal. Now, let's go to 2023. We now get to look forward to Aaron Rodgers playing with Garrett Wilson. Let's break this down, Dilly. I want to show you the numbers here. So in 2022, we had 17 games played.
Yep.
147 targets, 83 catches, 1,103 receiving yards, 13.3 yards per catch, 1,575 air yards, and 4 receiving touchdowns. Comes in at 12.7 fantasy points per game, 30th overall in the league. On top of that, Deli, I do want to bring up the fact that Garrett Wilson was a wide receiver 1 in 5 weeks. 5 weeks of wide receiver 1. And 5 weeks of double-digit targets. In 2 weeks, he had 9 targets.
Right. So here's my thing with Garrett Wilson is I think the stats that we're seeing right here laid out in front of us, this 1,100 yards, 4 touchdowns, I think this might be his floor season, at least for the next couple of years with Aaron Rodgers. I think this his rookie season is going to be his lowest by far. I think he takes a huge jump this year in a much improved offense just by adding Aaron Rodgers into the situation. He's pumped about it. I'm sure Aaron is too. So I'm ready to see them get together, see what they can do.
Yeah, me too. Lowest floor. Okay, so my only question is, how much more can his volume increase? 147 targets. That's wide receiver one
I
targets. That's
mean, no, you're right. You're
yeah.
absolutely right. Now I don't
What?
know what his like per catch basis was, but I think the quality of targets definitely goes up.
Right. So let's take a
Like you're
look.
looking at 147 targets, 83 receptions, so like that's barely what half of his targets turning the catches.
Let's take a look here. Okay. So coming in at 8.6 per game, number 6 in the league in targets per game, almost a 25% target share. 31% of his targets came in the red zone. 21, 21. That's 21, 21st in the league in target share. Snap share played almost 80% of the snaps. 227 slot snaps. 547 routes ran.
Look,
32 routes per game.
just want to point out there, target quality rating 4.14, 93rd in the league. This is exactly what I was talking about. Catchable target rate 92nd in the league. So I think
Oh,
that's where
absolutely.
you see
Absolutely.
the jump.
Oh, absolutely. Look at the air yards per game. 1575 came in at 92.6 per game, 11th in the
11.
league as well. Deep targets seen about one, maybe a little over one a game, about 19 per year, or 19 for the year. Red zone targets, 19, 5 catches. He had 19. He was number 9 in the league in red zone targets here. Um, he stands out, man. Uh, the thing about Garrett Wilson here, and you can watch it, his ability to win in man, to win in zone, to
Yeah.
press all. He can beat you in press. He's very special. His footwork is special. There was a certain game, and I want to say it was the Buffalo game. Um, it was in zone coverage when he ran in between. Oh man, rookie cornerback. I'm drawing a name. Rookie cornerback that the Bills drafted. It'll come to me in a minute. Either way, zone coverage. It was a break in between him, and it was a break. Micah Hyde over the top, and he sits in the zone perfectly. Was able to sit down, find the soft spot, and then went for 15 yards after it. Um, there was a game that me and you were watching too, where like his footwork off the line of scrimmage, like we texted each other and we were just like, "Wow, did you see?" It was in the red zone, and Garrett Wilson
Yeah.
broke off a route, and he had 6 yards of separation within like a second and a half. It was beautiful.
Hmm.
He stands out, man. Let's talk about his 2023 outlook. What are you thinking for Garrett Wilson?
As far as, well, let's just say with Garrett Wilson and the barrage of quarterbacks he had last year, um, well, he was 30th in fantasy points per game. I think at Aaron Rodgers, you get better quality targets, probably better schemes drawn up for him. What was his target share again? His target share was like what, top 15 in the league. I don't think that what Lazard, guys like that, are
He
going to
was
take too
21.
much.
Yeah, he was 21 in the league in target
21.
share.
Okay. So target's going to be there. I think he can. I can confidently say he could end up being like top 15 receiver this year.
Yeah, so let's say Garrett Wilson was 30th in the league overall in fantasy points per game. Is Garrett Wilson a top 15 wide receiver?
Yeah, I would put him probably top 15. I
Okay.
mean, here's the thing. This is what I point out a lot. Is just to put it in perspective. Is like Christian Kirk didn't blow anybody away last year with the season, but he was still wide receiver 11. So I don't think it's like too. It's not. It's definitely not out of Garrett Wilson's range to be top 15 this year.
So if you had to give a projection, I'm going to give you mine. I'm going to say 155 targets. I'm going to I'm going to say 95 catches. Yeah, I'm big on Garrett Wilson. I'm going to say 95 catches. I'm going to say 1,300 receiving yards, and I'm going to say 6 touchdowns.
Yeah, I'm actually around that 1,300 mark. I was going to say 1,350 somewhere in there. 155 target. I guess they'll be passing a lot more, but he's already number 6 in the league, so it's kind of hard for me to like come off of that. So I'd probably put him around the same area of like 145 to 150.
Yeah. No, my thing is, if it may drop, it may. We have to also remember the Jets have a great defense and the Jets have a phenomenal running game.
Yeah.
Um, but I if you separate yourself, talent always separates itself. I know
Absolutely.
he brings in my guys. I know he brings in Alan Lazard. I know he brings in Randall Cobb. I know you have these guys, but none of these guys compare to the talent on the field that Garrett Wilson has. That's
Right.
just what it is. I wouldn't be surprised if he pushes for 100 catches. Not at all.
If it's in the realm of possibilities,
Absolutely. Not even a question.
hundreds a lot. Hundreds a lot.
100 is a lot. 100 is a lot. But I saw Jalen Waddle do it year one.
Yeah, it's true.
I saw Waddle do it year one.
He was kind of peppered in their short passes. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to be doing anything like that. I think he can still get big yardage with maybe like 92 catches.
We'll see. Like I said, I don't think anything's out of the realm of possibilities.
Right.
2023, I do have him as a top 15 wide receiver. Dynasty, I think I have him at wide receiver 6. You have him at wide receiver 7. I have him the same tier as Waddle, Amon-Ra, and him. I
Yeah.
have him split amongst Waddle and Amon-Ra. I have Waddle 5, and I have him 6. I saw the other day people had him above A.J. Brown.
No, I mean the hype is definitely real on Garrett Wilson. I think we're in a time right now where people might be a little bit overreacting to the whole Aaron Rodgers situation. Like, I get it, 100%. Like Aaron Rodgers can make any wide receiver look great, and you're kind of looking at the same type of player that Devontae was, where Garrett Wilson can win off the line with his feet, which is like huge, huge. Like if you could have that as a wide receiver, you almost guaranteed to win against man, beat these guys, and then as long as you got a good quarterback, it's easy to slip it to you. Garrett Wilson's that kind of guy, so it could get scary, but over AJ Brown up there with CD Lamb in that tier, I don't know about that yet. I
Yeah,
have to
not
see it
yet.
first before I do that.
Not yet. I have to see 2023, which I think 2023 is gonna be special for him, but he's not in that tier yet for me.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Like I said, I've seen 2 wide receiver 1 seasons for Jalen Waddle, and Jalen Waddle's my 5. I haven't moved off of it yet. But let's talk about his Ohio State counterpart, who I am very
My boy.
my boy too. I'm very high on Chris Olave. Let's do it. And remember, the New Orleans Saints also have a quote unquote QB upgrade here.
Quote unquote.
15, yeah, call it what you want. 15 games played, 119 targets, 72 catches, 1,042 receiving yards, 14.5 yards per catch, 1,670 yards, which I do want to tell you does lead all rookies in air yards this year.
Mm-hmm.
Receiving touchdowns for 13.2 fantasy points per game. Actually had a better overall year than Garrett Wilson when it came to fantasy points per. He was a stud last year. And good, Dilly. I'll let you start it off with Chris Olave. I know you're a big Olave fan.
Yeah, I was preaching he was better than Garrett Wilson last year. Might have been a little bit wrong on that. Time will still tell. Technically speaking, in fantasy, Olave had the better season as a rookie year. But just to kick things off, he had 119 targets, 20th in the league. Great target share, 26.7. It's 15th in the league. So he's this Saints offense. They believe in him, which is a plus. Route participation, 88, which is great. And then, like I said, if you could scroll down, that air yards, he has to be in the top 10 for air yards.
Air yards, he was number 8.
Number 8. And look at even 29, almost 2 deep targets per game. Now, I'm not sure what qualifies of it to be a deep target. I'd imagine probably, 20 on?
20 plus, yep.
20 on? Okay. And here's the thing about his stats is like you've already seen Garrett Wilson with 147 target season. We saw Chris Olave on 119. Now I know, say what you want, like it does make a difference, especially if he was right on his tail in receiving yards. He's technically out of the 4 we're covering tonight the most explosive. He had 14.5 per catch. I think the rest of them were somewhere in the 13s. And Derek Carr, say what you want, is definitely an upgrade from Andy Dalton.
I do want to point out one fact though, that Garrett Wilson was 53rd in the league in catchable target rate, as opposed to Garrett Wilson at 90th in the league.
Yep.
Um, I do think that he will have a higher catchable target rate this year with Derek Carr. Derek
Mhm.
Carr always produces a tight end one or a wide receiver one. You can date that back to the Amari Cooper days. Um, so I do think that he has a QB upgrade as well.
Yeah.
Now the competition for targets, what does that look like? Over the hill, Michael Thomas. What are we expecting? Alvin
Right.
Kamara, possibly 6 games suspended. Um, Rashid Shaheed. I'm big on Rashid Shaheed, so a breakout from him. Jawan Johnson at the tight end spot, drafted A.T. Perry. So not a huge concern when it comes to competition for targets. Um, to me,
Raheem.
Chris Olave established himself as the wide receiver 2 for this class, and he did it very well. I'm a big fan of Olave. You had to speak me into being a fan of Olave, but I'm a big fan of Olave. So, where do you have him? Like, what is his 2023 outlook for you, and where do you have him in Dynasty?
I mean, I'm sound like a fucking broken record by the end of this thing, but like, I think Chris Olave can be top 15 too, dude. I do. I mean, at worst, if I'm going to give him like a floor, like it would be hard to believe for him to be sitting outside of the top 20. I just don't see that happening. He's going to have a better quarterback. He'll get probably more targets than 119 this year. Like you said, Derek Carr always peppers his wide receiver one and his tight end. So Jawan Johnson up, Chris Olave goes up. Um, and the target share rate's already there. You already saw it last year, 26.7. If you can even get to 25, that's going to be phenomenal for him this year. And he's just so good with the ball after the catch. So if he's outside the top 20, then I guess I'm just all out wrong on Chris Olave.
I don't think you're wrong. I do. So I want to bring up this point. So you see 13.1 fantasy points per game. That's in the same realm as last year as T. Higgins, DK, Devontae was like 14 and a half. So let's bring that up. Rookie year, you always hope to see progression into year 2.
Yeah.
Um, would you take Olave out of that tier? T. Higgins, DK, and Olave. Who are you taking?
From those three, I see. I lean DK in the situation, but you can definitely argue Olave. He's probably like a close second for me. So out of that tier, I'm probably taking DK just because of the physicality he brings to the table. But Chris Olave is right there for me too. I know that puts T Higgins last, but like, I still rather have a wide receiver one than a wide receiver two role that T Higgins plays. I get he's got Joe Burrow, but Cena's kind of capped.
Fair enough. So like for me, I have Garrett Wilson or Chris Olave pegged for 130 targets this year, if not more.
Yeah,
Um, I have him at about 85 catches, 1,200 receiving yards, and 5 touchdowns.
yeah,
You know what I mean? A very solid, very, very solid wide receiver. I bought him in 2 leagues, trying to buy him in more. It's harder than what it sounds. But let's look at his dynasty outlook. We have Garrett Wilson at wide receiver 6, 7. Where do you have
mm-hmm.
Olave?
For the rankings, I think he's somewhere in like the 10-15 range. I really should
I
have
want,
had it up already.
I want to say I have him at 9. I want to say I have him.
He sits at 9 for me.
I want to say I
Um,
have him at 9.
I could argue he could be 10 for me because Devonta Smith and him are also very close for me. But I just, it's hard for me to put a 2 over a 1 any day. It just is.
And I also want to talk to you because we talked about double-digit target games. He also had 4 double-digit target games with 2 at 9. So he
Wow.
dominated the offense.
Yeah.
Dominated. Another guy that I have some shares of, buddy. Let me go pull him up. Give me a second. Where's the search tab?
Mm.
Hold on one second. Talk about him, baby.
Sorry, my name was being called. I apologize.
Drake London. The Falcons here. Remember, 3 consecutive first round picks on offense. We have Bijan, we have
Man.
Kyle Pitts, and we have Drake London.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and Drake London has the highest target share of any wide receiver we're going to talk about. Any of
Yeah.
them. Granted, I do want to bring up one fact. Now Bijan comes into play, and Kyle Pitts was hurt down the stretch last year. So, what does Drake London's 2023 look like? That's the biggest question.
That's kind of what I want to lead this with off too, because like, what do you think of Drake London this year?
I love Drake London. I
Okay.
love him. To me, he projects as one of those elite alpha type wide receivers, big body guys, goes up, grabs the ball, not afraid to play it. He has sneaky game speed. His 40 won't tell you he has speed, but he has sneaky game speed, and
Yeah.
he can beat you any way he wants. That kid is smooth. And USC receivers, I don't like the helmet scout, but they're not my favorite receivers to talk about. But he gets after it, bro. Gets after it. I'm a
Yeah.
big Drake London fan. But the biggest question comes to me, like I said, is how can he replicate a 29.5% target share? To me, no,
Probably not.
probably not. In a
Probably not.
lower volume passing offense, which is what Arthur Smith projects, that's just how he runs his schemes and his systems. Um, I'm not sure if Drake London will see much more than 117 targets. I'm really not.
Yeah, I'm kind of with that. I mean, if anything, like I think the most he could have is 130 targets. I mean, you just brought in a running back in Bijan Robinson that's probably going to get the ball 20, 25 times a game. Like they're coming out like the Saquon Barkley, Ezekiel Elliott type role, and those guys are just getting hammered out there in their rookie season. On top of other running backs in the system, Algier, they love to run the rock. It's it's scary for Drake London. I'm not going to say that I'm afraid of him because I still want to buy him, but I am like cautiously optimistic.
Now, I do want to say this. His QB play significantly improved from his Marcus Mariota switch to the Desmond Ritter switch.
Are we
Um,
sure though?
yes, I am sure. I am sure about that. Desmond Ritter, I would say, because they averaged under 20, like I think it was under 25 passing attempts per game, and Desmond Ritter hit that in every start he had, if not more. So, like I said, his target share is there. His ability, he was averaging over 12 yards per catch. The volume was there. The target, like I said, the target share, the volume. I don't think he'll see much more than 117. I don't even know if I have him pegged for 130.
Right,
Uh,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
but I love this wide receiver. Big fan of this wide receiver.
Well, what's scary about this conversation is like how you love him, but like if Feeling goes up to 130 targets tops, is he even going to touch 1,000 yards?
Yeah, I think he'll touch 1,000 yards.
I mean, yeah,
I
I think
don't
so
think
too. He'll get
I
over
don't.
1,000, but
I
I don't
I'll
know if
be
he's
honest with
gonna.
you. I think it'll be like a T Higgins type thing, where like
Okay.
you're like 1,080, maybe
Yeah.
1,100. I don't think he's gonna be. It's just not the offense they run.
Right. Right. And
He's
that's
not
my
going to be
point. Yeah.
peppered with 150 targets. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? He has to compete with an alpha one running back. He has to compete with Kyle Pitts.
Right.
Um, Overall, this offense can get murky from week to week when it comes to fantasy. But I do want to say that this is a really good established offense in the NFL, and they should have a lot of fun. But Arthur Smith's going to run Bijan into the ground. That's just what it's going to be.
Hmm.
Um, and I really don't know how many times. I don't know how many times Desmond Ritter is going to throw this year. Like I said, I don't project 130 targets. I think 120 is where I'm at with it. I'm hoping the catchable target rate does improve. And it's actually better than Garrett Wilson's and Chris Olave's.
And Chris Olave. I was gonna comment on that. We had at least touch on that. He's had the best so far. 31 is actually not terrible.
Right. So I just want to say that like I do have Drake London as a top 15 dynasty wide receiver. I love the profile. I love the talent. Tamper your expectations just due to the fact of the Atlanta Falcons offense in general.
Yeah.
But don't be afraid to buy him.
Inside or outside the top 20?
2023?
Yeah, 2023.
As a wide receiver, outside.
Outside. I'm right on the fence. Right on the fence. I still think outside. What was his yeah, he only had 10 points per game last year, right?
10.8.
Like what?
10.8.
Okay.
11.5 expected. Yep. I have him outside this year, but he's 21 years old.
Yeah, he's got plenty of time.
Yeah, his profile screams elite talent.
The thing is, if he is a competent receiver and he stays in this, he will outlast Bijan. Just saying.
I will say this. I don't want to have to play the outlast Bijan game.
I don't either. I was just taking a jab.
I have two shares because I have 2 shares of Drake London. I do. And let's do the last one. See, this was our wide receiver 1 going into the year, too. Rough.
Boy, we better hope he ends up like an AJ Brown type role because it did not look good for us year 1.
No, it did not. It was bad. It was
bad. Well, it was also riddled with injuries and asthma.
He was also riddled with injuries to Ryan Tannehill. I was not excited to see him play with Malik Willis at all.
Yeah, Malik Willis didn't really do much of anything when he was out there. So any game that he played with Willis, if he got more than 5 points, is probably a success.
Yeah, it was bad. Obviously, we talk about injury riddled year here. I do want to say this. They traded A.J. Brown for this guy. He projects to be the same type of receiver as A.J. Brown. He's a yak monster. He gets the ball in space. He does a lot of damage. You can go back to the Arkansas tape, watch it. He was a beast. Like I said, he can make a lot of people miss, and he can make them miss very quick. I go back to the tape. He wasn't one of those dudes that has an elite 40, but he has a second gear. He has game speed that's very, very sneaky.
Yes.
I mean, you can look at it. I mean, almost 5 targets per game. Like I said, the target share, they're a run-heavy team as well. There's only 2 weapons on this team that I really, really care about. That being him, Treylon, and Chig. I expect a significant uptick in the target share. I really do.
Yeah.
I also, with barring injury, I expect a huge uptick in routes ran and the participation in the routes ran. So what's your expectations for Treylon Burks going into 2023?
I'm scared, man. I own a lot of Treylon Burks. It's hard to project him for anything because I don't know what we're going to get out of Derrick Henry. Is he going to be running the rock 25 times a game? Because if so, I mean, if we're going to play the Tannehill's washed, we're going to keep running the rock with Henry. I mean, we're looking at the same problem Drake London has with Bijan Robinson now, to where they're great. I just think we have to wait out. You have to wait out Derrick Henry for 1 more year to really see Treylon get into that role you kind of want to see him in, especially given time for Will Levis to kind of gear up and potentially be the starting quarterback there. So I'm definitely hampering my expectations with him. He'll probably sit outside the top 20. Uh, but like Steven said, I think he's a YAG monster. I think it's going to take a little bit more time with him. But I think we will get to a point in time we could see him in the 1,300 yard range, but just maybe not this year.
So say this. Say this. Say he's seeing about 5 targets per game. Say that upticks to about 7.
It's a massive win, first of all.
Massive win. Exactly. Exactly. This offense has changed. It, you know, what I mean, it. Like I said, no Tannehill for extended period of time last year. Things like that matters.
Yeah.
Tannehill's the best QB on this roster. Whether that be obviously a bad thing or a good thing, it doesn't matter. All I'm saying is this: believe in the talent, believe in what you've seen on tape. He had a weird year with the asthma thing in the offseason and then the injury riddled year. He had a weird year. Um, he's probably going what, dynasty wide receiver 22 to 25.
Yeah, he's in that range,
But I think
2025.
the talent projects to be top 15. I think we got him in what? We're in a 12-man startup. We got him in what, like late 6th round?
Yeah, somewhere in there.
I'm fine with that. I'm absolutely fine with that. I'm gonna tell you this year, Traylon Burks plays 17 games. He could have 1,000 yards.
Yeah, I mean, 1,000 yards is fine, but it's nothing like wow.
Right, but you wanna see significant growth from year 1 to year 2.
Yeah, it's true. I think, and like you said, I think he will see more targets. I mean, he'll have a whole nother offseason with the team, go through training camp again successfully this time. Hopefully, no asthma. Fingers crossed. Um, and then I think the bulk of it's going to come when you get that cannon of our arm Will Levis has out there. To be honest with you, I think that's where Treylon's going to start winning as a player.
And also, Mike Vrabel has to do better at scheming to get him the ball. Um,
Yeah,
you notice in Arkansas, whether it be handoffs out of the backfield, screen, bubbles, things like that, like you can do those things. You have to get your best playmaker the ball. You do not trade AJ Brown to get a guy that you believe in and not get him the ball.
right.
The only
Yeah,
other competition for targets is
Chig.
Kyle Phillips, and Nico. Oh my lord, how do you pronounce his last name? I'll botch it every time.
Nope, I'm out.
You get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But yes, we have Traylon Burks. I want to say it was like wide receiver 18, wide receiver 19. He's probably going wide receiver 25, 26, 27 in that range. Buy him. Love the talent. I'll stand by that. Ryan, anything else you want to say about Traylon Burks?
I'm ready to see that guy moving, man. And like you hit on the nail on the head. Was going to be my last point. Is like I think they do have to better job. When they drafted him, they needed the type of player they were. The player he was kind of like a gadget guy where he can do more than just catch receiving passes. And I think they have to utilize that. Considering they know that drafting him and then to not really have a plan for him for the season would be very weird for me. So I think he'll get his use, especially given job capital and all that stuff. So
Yep.
he's
I
got to
agree.
get the ball.
So that's going to be. We're just going to cover those 4 wide receivers tonight. We got a long way to go for the 2022 class just to talk about these guys.
Yeah.
We just want to knock out some wide receivers for the night. Other than that, we're going to keep it short and sweet tonight, baby. Ryan, this is your time to shine, baby. Say what you need to say to the people.
What's going on, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to the podcast today. We appreciate you. Like I said, we are in the dead of the dynasty offseason now. We're in between the season and in between, I guess, training camp and the draft. So we're gonna be spreading out this content to you. We covered 4 receivers today. There will be much more to come. Doing these short videos allows for us to put out more, and we're excited to get these knocked out, man. Glad to be in the space. Glad to have the fan base that we have. Like I've always said, you guys are the floor for us. Our groundwork. So we appreciate you guys being here. Thank you for supporting. And once again, just want to give a shout out to RPO Football. If you missed in the first half of the stream, we have our rankings over there on rpofootball.com. Growing very quickly. And if you're into IDP leagues, they have tons of IDP rankings, all kinds of stuff on there. Go check us out.
Yep. Like we appreciate you guys. You guys are the reason we do this. It's not easy getting on here every week and doing all this and producing this content. We appreciate your guys' support. We appreciate you guys. At the end of the day, we're not always right. We're going to be wrong. We've been doing this a long time. We are allowed to be wrong. So don't be afraid to let us know when we're wrong. We appreciate it. But also help us in our triumphs and our successes as well. We're allowed to be right too.
Yeah.
Other than that, guys, we appreciate it. We're going to do a short series on the 2022 class and looking at their future dynasty rankings and their dynasty values going forward. Other than that, we appreciate you guys, and we are out.